What up, Buzz? You tapped in? Okay, Goose, you tapped in too? All right, Chicago, y'all tapped in? All right, boys, let's crack 'em. Feel like Mike in the fourth with the ball in my hands and I'm taking a shot. I'm the king in the madhouse on Madison, whether I make it or not. Now the crowd going crazy, they watching the play and I'm watching the clock. Got my shot in the air and the buzzer go off and I'm watching it drop. This team did things. MJ shot City 6 rings. D-Rose too big, too fast, too strong. History, and we good on that. Put Jilla on the track and we good on wax. 3, 2, 1. Everybody say Bulls on tap. Bulls on tap. Our city pretty and gritty. Benny the bull in the crowd getting hyper and litty. Me, I'm so drippy, it's slippery. Nothing offends me. Banners on banners, we winners. We got the stats in the news. Go and subscribe. Hang out with Buzzy and Goose. Tapping with us, we the truth. Jilla just murdered the booth.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bulls on Tap. I'm your boy Buzz. I'm joined by my dude Goose, and we're here to recap a Chicago Bulls victory. That's right. We're back in the win column, 121-91 over the Charlotte Hornets in Charlotte. Before we get into this, be sure to go on tapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Following us on Twitter at Bulls on Tap and on Tap Sportsnet. Following Goose at Goose on Tap and me at Buzz on Tap. Anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to us, 5-star rating and review, because that's cool and tough. Whew, it's a mouthful every time. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, go to the YouTube. Subscribe to the On Tap Sportsnet YouTube channel. We're presented by Sports Illustrated Media Group. Goose, you're a brave man because you are in your car right now. And if people are not familiar with where Goose is, he is in northern Illinois. And I just saw it on Twitter after we were talking about it in the pre-post-game show. That tragedy that happened in Rockford. So, I mean, it's just really bad weather. If anybody's out and about, please, if they're telling you to go in, go in.
Yeah, the Apollo Theater in Belvedere collapsed. There is mass casualties. There was a concert going on tonight. Very old brick building, and there was a 20 ambulance emergency request. So I'm out at the bar, which was a kind of a last-minute decision to come here tonight. And then once the storm started, I was kind of stuck. Wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to make it out to the car here. Feeling a little bit trapped, similar to the trap game that the Bulls had in front of them tonight. A lot of guys without long-term NBA contracts playing for a future in the league. The kind of game that this team has dropped pretty consistently this year. There's a moment in that second quarter midway through where they got the lead under 10 and were inching in, and then we had that backcourt violation by Zach. And yeah, I was starting to get a little worried myself about the game more so than the weather. And luckily, going into the fourth, Billy was able to wave the white flag with a little over 3 minutes left and kind of get some bench players in there because there wasn't any starters for the Hornets really all night.
Yeah, that was a G League team out there tonight for them. I mean, honest to God, that's what it was. The Bulls should have won this game. They should have won it handily. They shouldn't have lost a quarter, and that they did not. Except the third quarter, of course. Because why not? I mean, seriously, they took control of this whole game. This again, like how you said, trap game. It's a trap podcast because, yeah, they beat the shit out of G Leaguers. Good. You want that, especially when you're fighting for this play-in spot. I'm very jaded, and if I lose power at any time, I do apologize. Getting nuts out there right now. But I was listening to Bulls talk today. And again, I'm not like a huge podcast guy, but Tony Gill's always been good to us, been on our show a couple times. I love that he's hosting that. So I'll tune in every once in a while to the show. And I was listening to him tonight or on the way home from work today. And Jason Goff was on the show. And he just said, he goes, you know who they are already. And that's what he kept saying about the Bulls and about how like changes in the offseason need to happen. So as I'm watching this game unfold, I'm hearing Stacy, I'm hearing Adam, that I'm hearing Will Purdue in like a little bit of the post game that I caught saying this is what they need to do every night. And I'm like, no, this is exactly why this is a trap game. And it's a trap game for two reasons. Trap game for them because if they lose, they look like assholes. And a trap game for them if they win because we have a big enough sample size to know that they're not going to do this against better teams on at least on a consistent basis. But, it was fun for the most part. I mean, we got some Marco hours, so that was really cool. You know, we got Marco hours.
Our buddy Ross the other day tweeted, with Andre Drummond out, I wonder if we'll get any Marco hours. And I was like, I think at this point we're counting down the hours that we're obligated to consider Marco a part of the organization. And as me and you know, we've watched Marco live at a couple G League games, and the numbers that go up don't really tell the story of what's going on in those games. So apparently this is what it takes. 20+ point blowout against a whole bunch of guys on G League and 10-day contracts fighting for a spot in this league. And then Marco's allowed to see the floor. So I guess he'll at least log probably around 100 minutes as a Chicago Bull before he heads back to Europe. But I guess that was a fun sighting. Like you said, not too much to talk about in this game. Being too positive about this win would just be a fallacy. There's nothing really positive to take from this. The Bulls handled business as they should have. They didn't lose to a non-NBA team, so all smiles. But at the end of the day, the only thing that could have gone wrong tonight would have been losing to these non-NBA players. So the pure epitome of a trap game, because not being an NBA player does mean you are fighting for your contract, for your future, for a shot to be in this league. And this is the kind of game that we have dropped. So I guess in a sense, slight kudos to not letting that happen.
Well, absolutely. And if we're going to give out some flowers here, offensively, Patrick Williams was very good. 5 for 10 tonight off the bench, 3 for 6 from downtown, 15 points. He did not log a rebound. That drives me insane. But I'm not gonna even go in and dissect that. I want to give flowers to Kobe White too.
Especially because Pat has, since the beginning of this year, designated himself and affirmed that he is a power forward, not a small forward. There is not a single game that Pat should make it out of with 20+ minutes without at least 3 or 4 rebounds. That should not happen ever.
Yeah, that's just absolutely wild. And our buddy Chai Sports Fan throw that. I saw Casey Johnson tweet that out too. He has 1 rebound over the last 48 minutes. So, again, I'm not going to try to rag on him.
An elite rebounder.
Yeah, that's wild. Kobe White. Defensively, I don't care if it was Boo Knight off the bench. I don't care who he had to guard. Kobe White did a great job again tonight, and he has shown you, and I have to give this flowers even because those G Leaguers try hard. We should beat the shit out of them, but the G Leaguers try hard, okay? They were trying hard tonight.
But matching their level of care and their level of want
might not have been done. We might have won off pure talent alone.
Exactly. In a game like tonight, your talent has to show through, because if it doesn't, the team that wants it more, which is the roster full of guys who know that they're probably not playing for the Charlotte Hornets, but they're auditioning for every other single team in the league, they're going to play with more heart. They're going to have more energy, which is something this team has struggled with throughout the year. So at the very least, the Bulls did show up. They did take care of business, and we don't have to cry during this tornado warning where a lot of people are going to be out of power. So there's no candlelit tear fests after tonight, but really still not anything to write home about either.
No, my last point even of the game in general, besides Kobe doing well, was you're dropping your phone like you kicked the cord.
What are you talking about?
Andre Drummond coming back. So we didn't think he'd play. I know you were pretty sold that you didn't think he played tonight. I'm glad he came back. I'm glad he got whatever he had to get figured out. I'm really was impressed with Adam and Stacy talking about how, DeMar's comments, how he kind of broke those down because DeMar's had, a history of mental health issues that have bothered him, and that he was able to kind of get under check, but still struggles with. So I'm glad that he was kind of there for Drummond. And I'm just glad Drummond's back on the court, and I'll kind of leave it at that. I know it's only 9 minutes into this podcast, but again, this was just such a blah game against a G League team that we needed to win after losing 2 straight to the Clippers and then the Lakers. Next game is Sunday at 2:30, and that's going to be against the Memphis Grizzlies. They just lost to the Clippers on the 29th after being like on a 4 or 5 game winning streak, I believe they were on.
That was pretty much without Ja.
Right. So we've got them, and they're a very good team. They're fighting for seeding right now because of how the seed looks in the Western Conference. Currently, Memphis is second, and they are slated up to go against, depending on whatever happens in this play-in, but you have New Orleans sitting seventh now, which I don't think would really be an issue for Memphis, especially without Zion. Now Zion's back. We're having a completely different conversation here, but they're still fighting for their seeding. They got Sacramento right on their ass. So, I'm sure that they're going to come out and try to play, primetime game, 2:30. They're going to try to, play and get another win here. Definitely not going to be easy.
No, I don't expect Memphis to ever be a rollover game with Ja or without Ja. That is a team that is so well put together that they almost win more when they don't have Ja. It's like they bring an extra edge to the game when they don't have their dude. And definitely going to be the opposite of the game tonight. You are going against the team that is better put together than you are all around from top to bottom. And they're good on both ends of the court. They've got Jaren Jackson, who's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, even with his boosted block numbers from earlier in the season. Definitely not a team that you can take lightly, and hopefully the Bulls can string a few wins together, because that feeling we had before the two Los Angeles losses to the Clippers and the Lakers is what you want to be feeling going into any kind of playoff scenario, even if that is the dreaded play-in. You want to be clicking on all cylinders at the end of the season when it matters the most, going into the games that will actually determine the fate of your season. So Bulls got to string a couple good wins together here, or at the very least, some very competitive, close losses, which I guess is a 9th, 10th seed play-in team. That might be a positive.
No, absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing too, is like, I love that you just brought that up about you want to have that feeling, because I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. They're getting into the play-in. They're getting in there. So, I mean, if you're getting in, you still can keep your lottery pick if it gave you any sort of luck. Obviously, we're probably not going to get any luck out of it because of what we did, not going the right way. We went the wrong way, but still, you're going to try to go into the postseason. You're going to want to ride in on some sort of momentum. I mean, you're going to want to try to, string together so strong where people start going, like Bill Simmons calling us the most potential dangerous play-in team. You want, like, the team needs to believe that too heading into there. That's why they need to string this shit together. So,
and you even had Monty Williams before the Suns destroyed us say the Bulls are built for the playoffs. And this is a team that has played all year like they believe that they belonged in the playoffs and didn't have to play the regular season game. So they're going to approach any of these games like they count. The end here is what matters. Get that feel, get that vibe, go into this play-in with some confidence, and maybe they actually find yourselves in a first-round matchup with likely the Milwaukee Bucks.
I'll tell you something right now. The best part of that series last year, the Chicago Bulls and the Milwaukee Bucks, do you know what it was?
It ending?
No, it was Red Panda at the halftime show. I think I've told you that before. I love it.
You're bringing up halftime shows, and they had the legend Slavic or whatever with the chairs the other night. Mm-hmm. And this old dude has a fresh gash, a scar on his forehead, and he's climbing 12 chairs up in the air. And I'm like, how do you clear this with your insurance? This man has clearly fallen in the last 3 days, and now he's halfway up the United Center ceiling. What the hell is going on?
It's the love of the game. He loves climbing chairs. I'm just saying, that was the coolest part, because like we knew we were going to get screwed in that playoff series against Milwaukee. But seeing Red Panda, again, I'm so blown away. I've talked about this on the show before. A unicycle and you're throwing bowls on your head, dude. That is the craziest shit I've ever seen in person.
I just want to know how you come to the conclusion that you can do this. Like, are you just riding a unicycle, or are you just throwing bowls on your head?
Yeah,
and then you find the other object, and you're like, let's put that together, and I'm going to be the greatest halftime show ever? Or, like, how does that come about?
I think, like, the coolest thing I could do is shotgun a couple beers pretty quick. It's about it.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. Maybe.
I don't know if it's halftime.
See, this is maybe how they came up with it. Maybe I could shotgun them on a unicycle.
Maybe you could do that.
Yeah. This
With
just
what
in, Bulls
bowl
on
on
tap.
tap?
I'm going to the hospital because we all know what's going to happen. I'm going to fall and bust my shit. Well, I don't want you out there in this crazy storm and in the rain. I know the bad has passed, but still, you got any closing thoughts before we get out of here, man?
No. Don't get embarrassed on Sunday. Let's be competitive. Let's give the Grizzlies a fight. Hopefully try to put a win streak together. And like I said, the biggest thing is building that momentum into the play-in. You might be slotted as a play-in team. Despite our questions as fans about the fit of this roster and the future of this roster, the talent is still here. And we see it in spurts. We see it, every couple of games where you go, holy shit, this team really could put it together if all the pieces fell right. So let's get a little momentum and handle our business against a couple of these teams. And let's ride into this play-in with some confidence and maybe win a first-round series.
Hey, man, that's perfect closing thoughts. Everybody, be sure you're going on tapsportsnet.com for other Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. We will probably see you on Sunday. It's hit or miss, I think, at this point. Tomorrow is Ren's 5th birthday party. So we actually rented out Urban Air. It's like a sky zone. So we're gonna go do some cool stuff. So if I'm not in the hospital Sunday, we'll try to go. We'll just gotta see how it all goes. But go to the On Tap Sportsnet YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button and the little bell. Anytime we go live, you will be notified. Again, we'll try to be back Sunday. And until then, let's go Bulls.